Hey, I'm Ashley. I'm from SMG Studio. I'm the studio head. We're showing Moving Out here at PAX East in Boston in 2019, and really happy to be here. So, really easy way to describe the game. It's like Overcooked, but we're moving furniture. It's really cathartic because you can kind of throw things. You can basically, it's as quickly as you can do the level. We don't penalize you for breaking things because everyone in the game's got insurance. So in Moving Out, your main objective is just to move items out of the one location into the truck to basically move them out. So we have a series of training tasks as you go through all the different scenarios that a moving company would normally go through. Everything from an apartment to a haunted house to a space station. This game is for anyone that likes to work with others to play games. So it's a cooperative game, and we try to make it as accessible as possible. So from young kids to adults to grandparents, as long as you can use a controller, then you can play this game. So the way Moving Out came about is Jan from DevM Games kind of showed me the game early on and said, hey, this is something I've been working on. And I was like, man, this is amazing. And then it kind of got to the point where it kind of grew beyond just him. And then we then jumped on to kind of collaborate with him. So his previous games were extreme forklifting. And I think he just had that kind of, he has a very quirky sense of humor. And I think he just loved that kind of, taking something boring like moving, and getting something fun from it. And we kind of embraced that and just kind of explored it from there. So yeah, really have to thank Jan at DevM for that. So influence of this game, it's pretty simple. It's the Overcooked, those other co-op couch co-op games. I mean, Death Squared in a sense as well, just from us embracing the fact that non-violent cooperative games that can be fun. But yeah, I definitely think it's the Overcooked series that kind of was the impetus for making this. Non-gaming influences, I think definitely Jan is into forklifts for a while. He's obsessed with them, and I think the influence of just taking something very banal or something that people hate and bringing that to life in a game versus choosing something that people already have fantasies about. And I think it's that juxtaposition that's relatable and also fun and hopefully unique as well. So my background's a bit interesting. I studied graphic design. I worked as a digital advertising person. I ran my own digital advertising studio since 2002, of which SMG was spawned out of. And so a lot of the team is from that ex-digital advertising background. And the games we worked on, Moving Out will be our 10th game we've worked on. We had Death Squared before that, and we had a lot of mobile games. We worked on Risk, Thumb Drift, One More Line, One More Jump, OTTTD. So we're actually quite an experienced team, but in terms of console games and PC games, this is our second title. I was a Mega Drive or a Sega Genesis player, so I played Sonic, Alex Kidd. I was really good at Mortal Kombat there for a while on the Mega Drive with the 6-button controller. SimCity, Civilization, I got into the turn-based games quite a lot. Yeah, so my background's really varied on that. But yeah, I think I'd say Sonic and Mortal Kombat, I know it's a weird mixture, but they're kind of still hold dear to me. Especially now I'm an adult with kids or a parent, that the games that I can play now with my kids are a bit different. But I'd say Civilization as a series, that was meant a lot to me. Sonic, Mortal Kombat over the years, NBA Jam, and I love pinball games as well. So Stanley Parable is one that I tell people where they've never played a game before. They say, oh, I don't play games. I tell them play this. So I think that's kind of a great experience. But yeah, there's a lot of missing out. But that's kind of my history of gaming and faves. So in Melbourne, we have 9 people. Some of those part-time, some of those full-time. And then we have Jan over in Sweden. So 10 people full-time on it right now. And we'll probably augment that team. And we're bringing on we've got a writer. We'll bring on Mick, our normal voiceover guy, and we'll get some other voices in there as well. And we've got Mike in the US doing the story for us. So it's a fairly big team, but not all full-time on it right now. So SMG came on board around August last year. Jan at DevM, as I mentioned before, had been working on it for like a good 6 months before that, like kind of on and off. And so yeah, we kind of came on August last year to kind of go full time. And yeah, it's really come together lately when we put on got some extra people on the team. John from Soft Science came on, we just finished another game and kind of really like got the art pipeline pumping. Yeah, so we're really like hit the ground running. Our entire Melbourne team's now working on this game. We've got a Melbourne team and a Sydney team. And so yeah, now Melbourne's 100% dedicated to moving out. So moving out's built in Unity. It's basically all our games have been built in Unity. It's one of the easiest kind of platforms for us to not only build for, but also hire for and have our 3D people work in. So yeah, we're pretty much a dedicated Unity house these days. Yeah, and I think the community around Unity is like what makes it kind of easy for us to work in. Yeah, so we communicate a lot through Slack. I personally hate it, but we use Slack. We've got Google Docs. We rely on that quite a lot for organizing levels and that. Email, obviously, but yeah, I think Google Docs and Slack, they're the two main ones that we use to kind of communicate and run the team. We also have Trello and Jira, but right now it's really Slack and Google Docs driving the other driving force. So difficulty level, I think the problem with this game right now that we have is paring it back. We just added so many different mechanics. We had about 40 test levels, which are all testing things from like magnets to slingshots to trampolines to switches, buttons. And I think the problem we have now is just like picking what's the best. How do we make the most out of the less amount of stuff instead of adding so many new mechanics? So that's probably the difficult task, is that user experience of crafting the levels and the level flow, and also just making sure they're fun. Making a challenging game is different than making a fun game. So we're trying to find that fun the most. Yeah, I think while working on moving out, we've brought on some new 3D people and John, who's like kind of running the art. And I think we learned that we have to get our art pipelines. That's probably where we've been the sloppiest lately, getting those streamlined. And I think it's been really good having John kind of take the reins and kind of show us, how to like organize that. So I think we're just getting more organized. Even though we're a quite experienced team, we're 5 years old, we've shipped a lot of games. A lot of those have been quite small, we've been quite scrappy. So I think now we're kind of putting on our big boy pants to be a little bit more organized and kind of streamlined in our processes. With a co-op game that relies on physics a lot, we've got our Slack channel is filled with like a lot of funny GIFs and things where mistakes happen. And we just had one where I think they'd attached the sheep behavior to a chair by mistake, and the chair was running away. And then we're like, oh, this is great. So we actually created a Haunted Mansion level just so we can incorporate that. So this happy accidents kind of led to new kind of game ideas. So moving out, we try to set ourselves apart by really cute art style, really accessible gameplay. The physics and the kind of fun of the game just kind of stands out, and just that kind of classic couch co-op where you're playing together to do an objective, and the sense of humor. Really, we try to be really strong on that as well. So I don't think we're really trying to make a statement with moving out, other than non-violent games can be fun as well. Although we do allow slapping in the game, but that's about as violent as we get. As a parent, I like playing games with my kid, and there's not that much they can play that doesn't involve guns and shooting. So I guess the only statement we're trying to make is, more non-violent games out there are only good for the community. So moving out, just like all the SMG games, will have Easter eggs and hidden secrets. We're going to have a really irreverent kind of silly story that we're getting written for us, and I think we're going to hide a few things in that. But yeah, like all of our games, we try and hide as many things in there as we can. This is probably my 10th or 12th PAX. First one I went to as just a consumer, PAX West or Prime at the time, and then kind of fell in love. I wish there was something like this when I was a kid. And so we started bringing our games to, we've been to every PAX with our games, to South, East, Prime, Australia. And so yeah, it was about a 10th or 12th show, I think. So you can follow us on Twitter, SMG Studio, or Facebook. Twitter's where we kind of post a lot of random stuff. Or check out smgstudio.com for a list of our games there, and yeah, you can subscribe to our newsletter. So thanks for watching. I hope that gave you a little bit of insight into the game. Follow us on Twitter or go to smgstudio.com and follow the links. And yeah, we'll be releasing more news. We've got some big exciting news for moving out coming soon. So yeah, hopefully you can follow along the journey with us until we release.